how to get wins in epic minigames. I feel like when I first started out, I didn't really know what I was doing with any of this, and I was just kind of playing in normal servers, and I figured that was the best way to get wins, is to just play a lot. But there's actually some nuance to it. There's some different techniques that you can take into account, and there's different ways to play, basically, that will help you win faster or slower, and really it all depends on your own personal goals. But today I'm just going to show you what I know, and hopefully it can help at least one person watching. So yeah, enjoy. Alright, so there is actually surprisingly a lot to dig into here. So what I'm going to start off with is just talking about a few key aspects of people or qualities of yourself that you're going to want to have to even consider doing this. It's not like a Nobel Peace Prize or anything, but there's basically 3 things that I've narrowed it down to that you're going to need. You're going to need a lot of time, you're going to need a lot of determination, and you're also going to need some connections, although it's not mandatory. So first, the time aspect. I think if you've played epic minigames for at least an hour, you know that getting wins is actually a very slow process. No matter what method you use, it is still fairly slow to get wins. And to achieve the things you want, you're going to have to spend a lot of time playing, because the game's been out for years, right? The top players have been playing for years. To catch them, if that's your goal, it's going to take a lot of time. So you have to be ready for that time commitment, and to get top 20, top 10, that's 10 plus hours per day for a month. That's a lot of time commitment. That's more than a full-time job. So you have to be ready to do that. Which means you're going to need a lot of free time, which means that if you have a lot of work conflicts or a lot of school going on, you're in high school, you have a lot of extracurriculars, things like that, it's going to be tough to grind wins, just flat out. No matter what you try and do, it's going to be tough to get wins fast as everyone else, because maybe they just have more free time, and that's kind of how it is. The game itself isn't very skill-based. It's mostly just based on how much time you have. The next thing is determination. So people who can play for long sessions of gaming, especially a game like epic minigames, which a lot of people consider to be actually quite boring, people can play for 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 24 hours. Like as I'm recording, I've been playing for 24 hours straight. People who can do that are essentially made for this game. I mean, if you're just down to chill in wherever you want to play, in whatever server, for a long time, that's going to get you a lot of wins, and if you don't think about it, it's going to rack up really fast. So people who are determined to get wins, they don't rage quit, they don't give up easily, they don't go out too fast in the race of a leaderboard. Like, you start out the first few days, you get a ton of wins, but then you're like, I'm sick of this, and you stop. You don't want to do that. And there's another aspect to it where people who are just in general very skilled at the game, or put in a lot of effort to optimize the game, learn how to win all the mini games, and just increase their win rates just by a little bit, by having this game knowledge that allows them to understand all these mini games. That's very important. And finally, connections. And this is something that I'll get into later when I talk about the different ways to actually get more wins. But what I mean by connections is having friends who are higher levels, or friends who are willing to spend Robux to buy mini games. That kind of thing is extremely beneficial to your success, and it will save you a lot of time. It's just having friends to grind wins with you, to be there with you, to make you less bored, to talk to, whatever it is that you need. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but just having people to compete with, to race with, that's an aspect that really helps me. I race my friends on the leaderboard a lot, and it really helps me to keep going. No matter how close the race is, it doesn't matter. It's just something that I like to do. So that's something that I recommend for a lot of people who want to grind. Get friends to play the game, compete with each other, that kind of thing. But I'll get into the connections part later when I talk about some of the different methods. So the main method that people think of is just playing in a normal server, or even like a pro server or a large server that's full, just a bunch of random people in it, and you're just playing. It's a perfectly fine way to get wins. Pro servers are usually slower than large and normal. Large and normal are generally the same, but pro is slower because the games are harder, so you might lose more. That's just kind of how it is. So I really wouldn't recommend playing in pro unless it's something that you're very passionate about and you like seeing the same people over and over, because not many people play in pro. But really, that's the main way that people play. But the way that I like to play is in an empty, and you can see by the gameplay, I'm just playing by myself, and it's incredibly boring. Alright, for some people. Not for me, though. I like it. It's very calming. I do other things while I play, and it's a very fast way to get wins. It can be, playing in a normal server, you might get 25 to 30 wins. In an empty, you could get 35 to 40 per hour, I'm talking here. So it does make a big difference, is playing in an empty server. And of course, on mobile, I'm pretty sure you can't find servers. Like, you can't look through the server list and find empties. So that's an unfortunate aspect of playing, that you might not be able to do empty servers, and that's fine because there's other methods that you can use. One of which is just playing in large and waiting for spams. So there's this concept called spamming, where people with a lot of Robux, they will go into a server, they will get all their friends in there, and they will buy a really fast, easy minigame over and over. And it's the best way to get wins in a game, hands down. And a lot of times they do this in just large servers. So if you play in large, you might just happen to become part of a spam. If you notice that Crusher is being played over and over again, that's a spam. Somebody's in there buying the minigame so they can get wins faster. And if you're in large, sometimes you might just become a part of that, and then you might actually be able to talk to the person spamming, maybe become friends with them so that you can join their spams later on. That's another thing I was talking about, connections. But if you really want to go the extra mile, do something better than just playing normally, something better than empty servers, and something better than waiting for spams in large, is to actually become friends with these people and join things like Discord servers, where you'll be notified of when these spams are happening. And if you do this, you might actually get into normal server spams, which are just 12 people, and there will be no randoms in there. And what that means is that they might actually end up spamming a game called Cloud Control, which is extremely fast. You can actually get up to 100 wins per hour doing Cloud Control spam, roughly, and it is by far the fastest way to get wins. A lot of people do it at the beginning of the month to get ahead, and I would highly recommend doing it if you can. So yeah, as you can see, there's a big community aspect to getting wins in this game, and I apologize in advance. It's kind of a ranty way that I'm talking here. I'm not really editing any of this. I'm just talking, and hopefully that message that I'm trying to convey comes across properly, but that's besides the point. Hopefully the key takeaways that you get from this is that it takes a lot of time, determination, a lot of commitment, and it helps to have a lot of friends to help you get to your goals that you want to do, whether it's monthly or all-time leaderboard. I just wish you the best of luck, honestly. Whatever method you choose, it will work as long as you put in the time and the effort and just stay consistent. When I was starting out, and you can end the video now, nothing else I'm going to say is of substance, but I'm just going to talk about myself for a little bit here. When I started out, I would play normal, or I would play in pro, and I would play for like a month, and then I'd just stop, and I wouldn't play for like 3 months, and it'd be on and off, because I'd be into other games. But what I'd recommend is really making a habit of just continuing to play the game, push yourself to play the game, because you might go through these phases, and if you can battle the phases and continue to play even when you don't want to. I know it sounds bad, but if you really, really believe in this, then it actually does get better. The higher level you are, the more wins you are, the higher up you are on the monthly leaderboard, in my opinion, the more fun it gets. And the more people you know in the community, the more fun it gets. So the game really only gets better as you play. It doesn't get more boring because you know all the minigames. That's not how it works. It gets better, trust me. So if you put in the commitment, you'll get there. Thank you for watching.